Hello, Rayquazers! So, I got a good old random matchup here. And the reason it's random matchup this week and not Showdown is purely due to the fact that Showdown is down and I have to work on the day. I have to work today. So, I was trying to get a video ahead. But, Showdown didn't come back up. So, obviously that didn't work. So, yeah. Since this is a random matchup, it means it's also story time. So, well, kind of like question story time. So do you guys remember, like, back in the days when you were like, oh, I don't know, 9, and then you're like, oh, the opposite gender no longer has cooties, or something like that, or if, of course, you prefer same gender, then, oh, the same gender doesn't have cooties or any of that, and blah, 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 and you're like, oh, no more cooties. Well, now, they kind of looking good. And you're like, you know, think I might have a crush on her. And I actually got this really, really funny story about young crushes. So, like, when I was back in elementary school, me and this girl, like, had young crushes on each other since, like, 1st grade. You know, I was a big player back then and everything. And all the ladies in 1st grade were like, oh, Nick, you're a player. And this really isn't true. I'm, of course, just saying this to kind of spice up the story itself. So I had a crush on this girl, and like nobody in the class knew we had crushes on each other, but they should have because it was kind of obvious. I would think they would be like, oh yeah, they obviously have crushes on each other. But I guess that wasn't as obvious when you're like that age, I suppose. But so like we'd hang out, and then like we'd hang out after school, we'd hang out on the playground, and people didn't think we had crushes on each other, which is weird. And like we were, you know, of course we were friends first, and then all of a sudden like we had a crush on each other. And basically we like hung out, and I guess yun dated, which all you really do in yun dating is like you sit on this seesaw and go up and down like constantly instead of, I don't know, going out to dinner or something. I'm not really sure, because it's a little foggy. I just remember this. The fact that I had a crush on this girl, and it was really funny. So, eventually, like, we have this crush on each other all the way up until 4th grade, and then she has to move. And I'm like, what? You're moving? You're gonna leave me heartbroken here? My poor 4th grade self heartbroken while you're moving, and probably gonna go get, you know, like, heartbreak some other guy? Like, what? Really? And so that was like really the end of my first year in crush right there. And then she decided to tell the class, oh, we had crushes on each other. And then all of a sudden, like, yeah, I don't know, it was weird. It kind of like spiraled downwards because she decided that, oh, I'm gonna tell people I have a crush on him, blah blah blah, and it was weird. But so then she moved away. And then the funny story is I actually saw her like 5 years later, because she actually came back to high school for a little bit and then went to a different high school. And I was like, hey, you remember that time we had crushes on each other? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, you single? And then it turns out she wasn't, and she had a boyfriend, and yeah, I was a lonely little freshman all alone. Oh well. But yeah, it's actually it's interesting. I just think it's funny about how like you have these crushes on girls like from a very young age if you're a guy, or like guys just have crushes really, really fast. And yeah, so if you want to tell me about a funny young crush story you had in the comments, I'd enjoy reading it. And the reason the match is so quick as for a triple battle is because my opponent forfeited because he knew that I was like going to 6-0 him or something. Like he had a feeling. And yeah, and of course, you know, random matchup rules apply, not Smogon rules necessarily, so obviously that's why you see Garchomp and Blaziken on my team, because I always run into Garchomps and Blazikens and Escadrilles, and I'm like, well, you know, it'd be rather unfair if I didn't do it, and it's a random matchup, and it's going by Nintendo's rules, not Smogon rules, so I decided, you know, let's play Nintendo's rules, Nintendo's weird rules. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the crush story, and yeah. Pretty much comment, like, and sub, and see you guys later.